Hey everybody, Dr. Giggles here from SFNEOnline and of course your host of The Growth Show. This video is called The Growth Show After Hours. And what this means is basically all the questions and topics that we couldn't get to as the comments are just flying through crazy through the show. Also, if there was like a hot topic that we talked about, I want to make sure that, we bring that hot topic back so people that missed out on something can get caught back up. And especially like somebody who didn't watch the show, maybe like, what is this all about, et cetera, you'll find that out. So anyway, so let's get on into it. We got like 3 questions that I found very relevant that, comments, questions, and then there's the topic that was really a hot topic that we kind of went off on a tangent for a while, and we actually like had a great conversation. Everybody got involved. Everybody threw their 2 cents in, and you'll find out what that topic is and what we were talking about in a moment. So I got 2 questions, a comment, and then the topic. All right. So one of the questions that was missed was from Joshua Johnson. He said, "How about a tsunami soaker?" We were talking about like different rides to bring into the park, and because we were talking about like different. Everything's always a spinny ride. Everything's always this, the lack of innovation. We talk about that a lot on the show, especially when new type of rides pop up or parks adding some kind of fancy thrill ride or some other kind of ride. And then we kind of just start breaking down saying, hey, these flat ride companies need to get some more innovation. To answer that, I would say I'm all for those tsunami soakers. I've never ridden one, but that's basically what I would call like a teacup ride mixed with water guns and water. I mean, the ride looks cool. It's probably not a crazy thrill ride, but I'm telling you, on a hot day, that would be crazy. But the thing that I notice, and I don't know why, is Six Flags absolutely loves to rip out water rides and direct everybody to the water park. I get it. Real estate is for some parks on a limited basis, so they'll rip out all the water rides and go, you can go to the water park if you want to get wet. The dry park side is going to be dry park side, and want to get wet, you go over there. So I would love to see one come to Six Flags New England. Honestly, I'd like to try one out. They look fun, and if you really want to get soaked. I mean, some people will argue, well, why don't you throw that inside a water park? But they don't put, for the most part, rides. I mean, the only thing you got is, what is that, Typhoon, the water roller coaster. But we shall see what the future holds. The next comment question was from Zachary Parker, and he says, who's ready for opening day at Lake Compounce? I know myself, I won't be attending opening day for Lake Compounce, but I can't wait for the park to open. I know that Lake Compounce catches a lot of crap. They haven't added a ride in a while, and they had a couple years of a bad run of things breaking down. They had the stuff with Boulder Dash, plus all the retracking with Wickets. Oh, excuse me, with Wildcat, and they're still doing more of that stuff, and the new trains for Wildcat, and they're doing a lot of work that you don't see, and then you're like, well, they haven't added anything, and they haven't done anything, and I feel bad for Lake Compounce in the sense that they're catching crap like that. You got Phobia, 4 years ago? So it's time for a new ride. I believe they're going to get a new ride. I think that's going to be, obviously, 2020. I can't wait to see what people post about opening day, but I plan on going to Lake Compounce soon. I highly enjoy, going to Boulder Dash and riding Phobia and riding a whole... I know it's a small park, and people are like, I enjoy it. Like, I can spend a full day there and have a blast. And I hope everybody that goes to Lake Compounce for opening day or any day that they go, they have a great time. This is more of a comment just because it was funny. So I wanted to mention it. Larry Hall says, my problem with RMC lap bars is their nugget squishers. They can be. Especially if you sit the wrong way, they can get pinched, squished, hurt. I've seen that happen. Sometimes my hips get cramped. Like if I like sit in it and then bring the lap bar down in the wrong position, I kind of get like this weird back cramp. But Usually, if I turn a different way real quick, it goes away. I don't know, but I just wanted to mention that because I just thought it was funny. Now, the hot topic that was talked about, we talked about that probably at least half the show. There was a comment by Jason Paradise that was, if you were because everybody knows that Jim Reed Anderson at the end of February is going to be leaving his position and leaving the company as CEO of Six Flags. So now they're searching for a new one. So with that being said, we had the topic. It was brought up of, well, what would you do if you were the CEO? And he said, I'd keep like these 6 parks, sell off the rest, concentrate, fix on this. And then other people like chimed in and say, no, well, you can't do that. Blah 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 blah. They make money at all the parks, and we get that, and nobody's dogging out Jason Paradise. We literally had like the craziest constructive conversation with like so many people involved, throwing their 2 cents until we all became happy and was like, this is the greatest idea. We don't run it. We have no shot. We have no voice on this. But we literally came up with a plan. And I think the plan, and it was brought attention to us first by Lindsay Yale Entertainment, which I think is brilliant. And then we just kept kind of building upon that. I mean, we were talking about like we were the ones in charge, and it was hilarious. But I mean, we really were like, we were doing the math. We were like, oh, instead of, the mantra right now with Six Flags is a new attraction every year at every park. That honestly is unsustainable. As they keep growing and adding more parks, that becomes unsustainable. So what I think they should do is, we counted out they have 15 parks. We're not talking about water parks, but we're talking about the theme parks themselves. And I believe there was like 15 of them. So why not go like I think it was like 8 or 9 every year, get something, and it alternates. You may not get one the next year or the year after, but the reason why we said this was because what they should be doing is the money that they were going to be spending on a ride that year, take that money and totally get in on maintenance, totally get on making sure that your paved walkways are great, your buildings are all painted, everything looks great, nothing looks like crap, renovate and do all this stuff, and just put the money, make it a better Fright Fest, make it a better holiday in the park, make everything grow. We all, and everybody understands, we all want roller coasters and big bad rides every year, but I think the common consensus is there's a lot of complaints going around, and it's not just Six Flags New England, it's across the board at all Six Flags parks, that a lot of them look messy, disasters, and we're not saying this in a negative light at all. We just hope that somebody sees this and can get it to the powers that be and actually put this plan into place somewhat. I mean, if you want to get into more detail about what we said, go watch the show, and when you get to that point in it, you'll see, and then just hear you can see in the chat people typing, myself talking, and everybody just going back and forth. It was a great conversation, and by the end of it, we're like, oh, make sure that all the parks, instead of the buildings looking decrepit and crappy and need paint them. The walkways, if they're broken up and busted, pave them, fix them. Add shade, add all kinds of things. You don't always have to add the ride. Yes, doing these things are not marketable. We know that, and they're trying to get more bang for their buck. But I believe it was Lindsay Yale Entertainment. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he said that, and it could have been Charles. I can't remember who. I'm sorry if I got the names wrong of who said this. But the new attractions every year, it loses that magic. Remember when, like, before the bankruptcy, you wouldn't always get a new ride every year. You'd get one every other year or every 2 years. But when that new ride came, it was magic. It was magic. People were excited. People were amped. I think people are getting new attraction fatigue in a sense, because every park's getting something new every year, whether it's big or small. And I think it would go a long way with them saving money by not putting in even these crazy clone cookie cutter rides all the time. I think it can be more diverse. I know when it comes to flat rides, it's tough. The innovation just isn't really right there right now. And I think as time goes on, like the companies that still exist from back in the day could go back and look at their, their plans from back in the day and revamp them for today's safety standards and maybe put a new twist on a ride. I know some places are doing that and it's beautiful and I love it. And I hope they do it. So I'm going to get out of here. So hopefully, you'll join us. This week is Friday's show instead of Thursday because I'm going to see Avengers on Thursday. And so I'm going to do the show on Friday. So hopefully you'll join us, join the conversation, help join in and drop out topics and stuff like that. And if we do miss a question, we'll make sure that we'll do another Grow Show after hours to hit the topics. This was the first one. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. And we'll see you on the Grow Show on Friday. Till next time, everybody, keep on coasting, y'all. Peace.